Hey everyone, it's Katie. Welcome back. I just wanted to jump on here real quick and talk about travel, relationships, friendships, and kind of how this lifestyle works with all of that. Um, so it's definitely not an easy lifestyle, especially because you're constantly on the move. So finding um, friends or your people can be challenging. And yet it's taught me how to connect better with people. And so um, I was kind of thinking about this just today because I'm actually leaving a home. Home is Montana right now. And I'm going back to Florida to do some yachting. And I've only been home about 2 weeks. So for me, that's been challenging to not only get rest and recharge, repack, but also like clean my space, rest, and see all my family and some friends. So I still have a very good friend here. I was able to see her briefly, and I wish we had so much more time together because she's just a fantastic person. One way that I've made sure to keep in contact with her is to constantly, not constantly, but anytime I think of her, I message her, whether I'm in town or whether I'm across an ocean. And for me, it's because I love her. I have this great connection with her since childhood. And, everyone gets busy in their lives. Everyone kind of gets in their routine, especially people who don't travel like I do. And when you're in your routine and you're not seeing someone every day or every week or every month, I mean, they tend to kind of float out of your mind. So I'm not always top of mind to people. And so how I've worked with that is I make sure that I stay on top of my friendships and my family and my relationships because I want to keep them strong. I want to keep them close. So, yes, the challenge the past 2 weeks has been making time not only for myself and for rest and for all the things I've been needing to do, but also just for spending time with family, having meals together, having chats, catching up on life, catching up on each other. And and it's not easy, When I'm on the road, it's pretty incredible the people I've met and the paths I've crossed through my lifetime, but especially since I've been traveling, because I feel like I've made some very close friends, and there's people who I haven't seen in probably 10 years, but I've called them and said, "Hey, I'm gonna be in your town or your country," you know, depending how big the country is. I'm gonna be near you. Can we meet up? And it's really cool because these people, if they have time, they're like, yes, I want to see you. And a lot of them, it feels like we just saw each other yesterday. The conversation just starts right where it left off. Um, yes, we catch up on like families and careers, relationships, what we've been doing, all that stuff. And then, we talk about like dreams and what the future holds and I feel very fortunate that I've made a lot of connections with people who go beyond that surface level. Hi, how's your day? The weather's great. It's deeper. It's knowing like their um mom has been in the hospital or knowing that their kid, went through something challenging. And I really appreciate all the friends I've made over the years, near and far, who still connect with me on that deeper level. And again, I I don't want to say I make all the effort. I just know because I'm the one always on the move, I definitely have to make the effort to help people plan. Like, as soon as I know I'm going to be somewhere, I try to tell them, hey, I'm going to be where you are next week or next month. Um, Usually I don't know, sometimes 2, 3, 4 months out. It's usually like, hey, I'm going to be there tomorrow. So I'm not an easy person to get a hold of, or I mean to get a hold of, yes, like answering my phone, text message, whatever. And I try to stay on top of that as well. If someone texts me, if someone calls me, if someone instant messages me, I try to answer right away. And that's also a big part of communication that I value in myself is, and I know other people are different and busy, but I try to stay on top of that because if someone's taking the time to reach out to me, I want to take the time to get back to them right away. You know, I know it's hard and it doesn't always happen. However, waiting 20, 30, 40 minutes for someone to, text you back when you have a real quick question, it's hard, and again, everyone's busy, so you can't always get what you want. But for me, I definitely keep on top of messaging, phone calls, all of that, emails, just to make sure that people know that I care and people know that they're on my mind as well. Some things that have been difficult over the years is, those friendships that don't last, or they fizzle or they fade. Um, I did a short video about like people who come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And that's one thing about travel. For a while, I used to think, some of my relationships ebbed and flowed. Um, and I thought it was just because I was traveling or that I was in different places, not around the same people all the time. But then I kind of learned that, some people just aren't for me and I'm not for everyone, and I feel that I'm getting better over the years when I first meet someone. You kind of feel that instant connection or you don't. And so you kind of know like, ooh, I want this person to be, in my life. And then other times you're like, ooh, they're really nice, but we just don't have a lot in common or, they're very into, I don't know. I was gonna say Comic-Con, which I think that would absolutely be so much fun, but I've never been to Comic-Con. And I'm into diving, so sometimes it's just you're not into the same things. Um, but you never know until you try. And that's another thing travel taught me is just saying hi to people, being cordial, being nice. Obviously, listening as a woman, especially, well, as men too, but listening to your intuition. If you walk into a space that doesn't feel safe, or you end up in like a group of people that don't feel safe, um, exit, you know, make an excuse, tell the truth, whatever you need to do, but never put your safety in jeopardy. And you just feel it. I don't know how to describe it, but it is kind of a muscle you need to work. You need to pay attention to those feelings you have when you first meet people. But then the best feeling is meeting those people that are your people. Like there's just this instant connection, instant like bond. You have so much to talk about. You could spend days talking to this person. And those are my people. We just get each other. It's like you're already in on the inside jokes and you just met them. And that's one of my favorite parts of being in different places and meeting people from all areas of the world, and just having deep conversations with them again about about the world, about life, about humanity. Um, it's pretty wild how people view this world so much differently. Um, one piece of, I guess, advice I could give you, I'm pretty used to solo traveling, but that's not to say that I've always solo traveled. Sometimes I'll go with a friend or two. Sometimes I've traveled with a significant other. Um, Most recently, I've been doing quite a bit of group travel. I've been leading groups to different places around the world. And I've noticed, especially with group travel, especially for, I want to say beginners, but people who haven't done a lot of traveling, group travel is so nice because it's all put together for you well, if you choose the right groups. But it's pretty much all put together for you, so you don't have to worry about logistics and all that. It's kind of like you just get yourself there and then you're there and then you do whatever the trip is, you know? Um, and the magic I've seen, like we just ran a Bali retreat in September, and there were people, again, from different places, some of them from like my hometown in Montana, and meeting other people from other areas of, the country. And then we're all meeting in Bali. And just seeing people make these instant connections, and they might have all, like, two of them might have known me, or maybe one of them only knew me and nobody else, and then by the end of the trip they have like 15 new friends. And that's what I really like is trips, retreats. You have this chance to really like meet even just one other person that's like your person, not your person in that like intimate way, but just someone who you connect with. And then, I find then it's easier when I meet people, especially in like a group setting, or when I would do diving liveaboards, you kind of meet people from around the world. And suddenly it's like you have a new dive buddy or you have a new travel buddy, especially if this person, even if they live in the UK, they might have the same holidays as you, or they might also be single and have no children, so they can, travel on a whim, whereas maybe most of your friends back home have children, or vice versa. Maybe you both have kids, and you want to bring the kids together on this trip, like to somewhere, and have your two families meet. So I just really think group travel is definitely a great way to meet other people, especially other like-minded people. If you're doing trips that you love, if it's like a trip based on hiking, a trip based on skiing, a trip based on diving, if it's kind of based, or if it's based around wellness, yoga, all that stuff, you start to meet people you have a lot in common with, So group travel is great. And then one thing I have to say about solo travel, though, is when you're solo traveling, sometimes sometimes you meet more people, sometimes you meet less. It kind of depends. When I'm solo traveling and there's other smaller groups of people and we're diving on a liveaboard or whatever, I can, I'll start to approach people. Hi, how are you? Like, what's your name? What do you do? And just kind of get to know them. And then I can usually start to, um, not join their groups, but, like kind of integrate myself into their groups, or even just trying to, I don't know. Sometimes it's fun to just try to meet everyone. Or if you're at a cafe every single morning in Italy, it's like, start to meet the staff, start to introduce yourself. Um, it can be difficult at first, and again, that's kind of why I like group travel, because you're kind of all together doing the same thing. But once you just exercise that muscle and keep introducing yourself and keep asking questions and finding out about other people and them asking about you, you can make some really, really cool connections all around the world. And I want to say for me, that's probably the highlight of traveling is meeting new people and making new connections around the world. So if you're curious, keep following along. Um, Message me. We can always see what you're into, and maybe I can connect you to some like-minded people and I don't know, put you on a trip or even just um, I don't know, see what's best. So yeah, contact me if you're interested.